on that frame, there was an inscription in a brass plaque, and it said, "Our Boss." And above that, there was a photo. Now, you may think that as people came in, our employees and guests to the governor's office, where it said, "Our Boss," there would be my picture. In 10.5 years, and it was there for my first day in office, on July the 15th, 1996, it stayed there until January 9th of this year, when I left office, being term limited out. And in those 10.5 years, that frame never had my photo in it. Every week or two, we changed it. We had a Boy Scout who had become Eagle. We might have a couple celebrating their 50th anniversary. A Sunday school class that had done some special project to help a kid with a disability. We changed the picture. It was just an ordinary citizen. They didn't have to do something really outstanding. They just had to be people that we understood, we worked for. I wanted my staff and I wanted myself to remember every single day when I walked in that office that I wasn't the boss. The boss wasn't the guy sitting in the corner office with a nice view of the Arkansas River. The boss was 2.7 million people of my state who had hired me to do a job. And they didn't expect me to be perfect, but they expected me to care more about things than I. When I was governor, I fought hard to protect the sanctity of human life because I believe that's important, including a human life amendment in our state constitution that I worked on before I ever got into politics. And in fact, I didn't become pro-life to get into politics. I got into politics because I'm pro-life and I believe it's a fundamental important issue for our country and civil liberty. And while I was signing bills that required parental consent and signing bills that were pro-life, that said we would protect the unborn child and the mother, if in fact somebody committed a crime against the mother, they would be committing a crime against two persons, not just one. And when I was signing legislation that protected human life so that if a person didn't think they could keep their baby, they could bring that baby to a medical facility without criminal charges so that hopefully they wouldn't be tempted to end that human life. I know that Mr. Romney has said that he's pro-life, but that's a new position for him. But just before he left office, he signed a health care bill that provides an elective abortion for a $50 copay. And when he tells you that he only signed pro-life legislation, ask him about that. I'm not here tonight to be unkind, but I'm going to set the record straight. And today, when I realized that it was going to be a time not just attacking me, but even attacking Senator McCain, I thought you guys have a right to know the truth. I want to run a positive campaign because I really believe that our country needs leadership that's looking ahead, not behind. I think we need leadership that's looking ahead and not to the side. And I think more than anything, this country needs a president who can tell you where we ought to be going rather than tell you why we're sorry for where we've been. One of the most important things that a president does is when he looks into the camera and talks to the American people. And when the announcer says, "Ladies and gentlemen, from the Oval Office, the President of the United States," when you turn your attention because the President is about to speak, I think more than anything, you want to believe that that person who's about to talk to you is going to tell you the truth. Even if it's bad news, he's going to tell you the truth. You have a right to know what the truth is. You have a right to know that this country is $9 trillion in debt that we've hung on our grandchildren. You have a right to know that if we don't change the Social Security system, it'll go bankrupt, and those in their 20s, like my children, aren't going to have a Social Security system. And we've got to sit down with Democrats and quit fighting each other and start working with each other and fix it for good. You have a right to know the truth about immigration. That our government has miserably and dismally failed and become dysfunctional in securing our borders. And you have a right to know that if a person is elected president, he's going to seal the border, end sanctuary cities and amnesty, He's going to have a clear and solid, realistic plan for people to get in the back of the line, back at home, start this process, do it legally, and we're not going to have this problem continue to fester. We're going to have it so that when people live in this country, they live with their head up, not in the shadows, not in hiding, and the only way to do that is to force everybody to start the process right and to do their process through the front door, not through the back door. You have a right to know that a president is actually committed to building the fence and making this a problem that is no longer. You have a right to know the truth about human life. That a president won't just run on the promises that he's going to be pro-life and then get to office and never do one thing and lift one finger to help save the lives of innocent people, but one who believes in his heart of hearts that this issue for our generation is as slavery was 150 years ago. Abraham Lincoln said that if slavery isn't wrong, nothing is wrong. If taking the life of an innocent human being is not wrong, then nothing is wrong. We must stand clear and firm with human life. And you have a right to know that it's not that we are unkind or mean or in any way trying to hurt somebody else in their life or lifestyle choices, but you have a right to know the truth that if I were elected president, I believe that we need to affirm with a constitutional amendment that marriage means what it has always meant. It's one woman, one man, partners for life. And the reason that it means that is because it's the foundation and the essence of our culture and society. It is in the family and it's in the marriage that children are produced, and it's out of that family that we train our replacements. And that's the basic purpose of a family. It's not just to bring the kids into the world, but it's to help them to understand and to teach them how they're to take over when we're gone. And if they don't learn it in their homes and families, there is not a government on earth that can teach them what's right and wrong if they don't ultimately get it from mom and from dad. We need to affirm that. I think you may get the impression that I love this country for a whole lot of reasons, but one of them is because of all the things that it has afforded and done for me. I understand how blessed I am, and I don't know of a better word than just I feel blessed to have been an American and to live in this country. I know where I've come from. I understand my roots. I'm not ashamed of them. I know they were not the most powerful roots of all. I know that my ancestry and my last name has never opened up a big door for me, and no one ever came to me and said, "Oh, the Huggabees, yes." I think I went to the special prep school with your father. Look, I grew up feeling a whole lot more comfortable with the people working in the kitchen than the ones sitting at the head table. I want to understand something. I had to learn how to sit at the head table. I really did. That was learned behavior for me, because I didn't grow up even going to the banquet. I didn't have to learn how to clean the dishes. But in this country, you can start in the kitchen and one day be the guest speaker. And that's a great country. For your children as much as I want it for mine. And that's why this country has got to make sure that when we elect a president, we don't just elect somebody who's on People's Magazine's nicest looking folks. And thank goodness, because I'll never make that list, and I know it. But if you give me the chance to be your president, I will do everything in my power, not only to remember where I came from, but to remember why it is that I ever asked for this office in the first place. And it's to keep us free. And it's to make sure the next generation has a better America. And always to remember that our freedom isn't free. Somebody had to pay dearly to give it to us. I have a good friend.